Desde México. Ok, ahora sí. Buenos días a todos. Creo que podemos empezar. Buenos días en México, buenas tardes desde Italia. Hoy es nuestro tercer día de congreso, donde hemos tenido en los últimos días cerca más o menos de 2.000 personas inscritas, 200 personas en línea por día. Y este congreso, esta iniciativa, se inscribe en el cuadro de la Cátedra México en Ciencias Políticas, organizada entre la Universidad de Pisa, el Departamento de Ciencias Políticas de la Universidad de Pisa y la Facultad de Ciencias Políticas y Sociales de la Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México. Entonces estamos muy contentos de seguir creando puentes, diálogos, intercambios entre colegas mexicanos y colegas italianos. Y hoy justamente es uno de esos frutos que recogemos en este tipo de iniciativas. Estoy contentísima de poder presentar al colega y amigo Edmondo Grassi, que se conecta desde Roma. Edmondo Grassi es investigador en Sociología General en la Università San Raffaele de Roma. Sus intereses de investigación se centran en los Science and Technology Studies, los cambios sociales y éticos producidos por la inteligencia artificial, el imaginario social, la teoría sociológica, las cuestiones de género, la identidad postmoderna y el pensamiento de la complejidad. En el marco de su participación en asociaciones de investigación nacionales e internacionales, es director científico de la European Fairy Tale Route, la Red Europea de Estudios sobre el Imaginario Colectivo y las Raíces Folclóricas Europeas. Y también es miembro fundador del Observatorio de Ciberseguridad, Nuevos Desafíos para la Responsabilidad Ética y Jurídica de la Università San Raffaele de Roma. En 2024 recibió el premio ICE de la Asociación Italiana de Sociología para Jóvenes como Mejor Joven Investigador del Año por el artículo Intersecciones Afectivas, explorando la ontogénesis de las relaciones humano-algoritmo. Ha publicado numerosos artículos científicos y dos monografías, una de la cual hablaremos y nos concentraremos sobre todo hoy, que es por una sociología algomórfica, publicada por Franco Angeli 2024, y otra monografía que tiene también Edmondo, es Ética e Inteligencia Artificiale, Cuestiones abiertas, ¿no? De Aracne del 2020. Y bueno, no le robo más el tiempo a nuestro autor, que hablará en inglés. Yo haré de puente. Yo soy Paulina Sabugal, soy doctora en sociología, un poco mexicana, un poco italiana. Soy investigadora en la Universidad de Bolonia, en el Departamento de las Artes, y bueno, estoy feliz de hablar de inteligencia artificial y otros monstruos. Entonces, doy la palabra a Edmondo. Maybe I can switch to the English. And maybe I would like to introduce your book by saying that you talk about algomorphic society, an algo agent, in which you mean while reading the book
Mhm.
that algorithms are like social actors. Am I right? So
Yeah,
please.
so first of all, thank you so much to you all. Thank you so much to my colleague and friend, Professor Paulina Sabugal. And I'm sorry if I cannot speak in Spanish. I'm so sorry, but maybe I need to take some lessons because I studied Spanish just when I was a child. So, first of all, I want to declare and I would like to clarify my position because in my book, as Professor Sabugal says, I talk about two new kind of definition: algo agents and algomorphic sociology. When I speak about these elements, about algorithms of machine learning as social actors, I am not claiming that they are consciousness, that they have intentions, that they feel emotions, or they have moral awareness. There is no ghost in the machine, if I can cite an amazing book. What I'm trying to arguing is something a little bit different, and it has a deep root in the STS, in the science and technology studies, because from Bruno Latour, Madeline Hackrick, or Susan Lake Starr, they shown how objects, infrastructures, technical system participates in shaping social relations. So if we think to a fork, to a knife, to a pillow, our houses, everything has an impact on our way of being. So, for example, a bureaucratic form structures possibilities, or if we think to a medical classification, produced categories of what is normality and what is deviance. So everything is connected on what we are. So the point is that I'm not talking about consciousness actor, but I decided to use this term, the concept of ergo agent, because I would like to extend this STS tradition to another frame. So the point is, in very simple terms, we can define an ergo agent, something that is not just an algorithm considered as a piece of code. It is an algorithmic assemblage, a model plus data pipelines, interfaces, metrics, platform incentivities, feedback loops, and so on. So the point is that in this case, we decided to give to the machine the possibility to speak the language. So we created a tool that is capable to construct a dialogical relationship. So the point is that in this case, something that is different from the digital sociology is that now the condition of interactions are changing. So what we see, what we meet, what we consider as relevant is co-constructed through what I call ergo agents. So a kind of algorithm of machine learning, but in a very strong way. So the point is that the conversational AI, the conversational algorithms, so like GPT, Bard, Gemini, DeepSeek, and so on, and all the algorithm of generative AI, this kind of systems don't only provide information. So, it's just not a site, it's just not only a blog, or just only a social network. They create different kind of relationships like interactions, so they can simulate empathy, companionship, guidance. I was thinking that when I clicked on the Zoom link to enter in this chat, one of the banner was AI companion is with you. So again, when we decided to use a tool as Zoom and a tool as a companion of AI, they try to create empathy. So they become part of everyday decision making and emotional regulation. So just to conclude, and sorry if I talk a lot, but I'm very interested in this, and I would like to hear from the people that are connected with us what they think about this. Just to come an end. So I decided to call them ergo agents because it's an analytical choice with political consequences, because it forces us to ask who designs them, who benefits, who is made visible or invisible through this kind of algorithm of machine learning, who is governed through them, and at the same time, who can contest them. And finally, to be very clear, saying actor, the concept is inspired by, as I said, Bruno Latour, or, for example, by Wiener, because he argued that artifacts can have politics. Or again, if I want to recall Madeleine Acrick, she spoke by of scripts. So how objects delegate roles and expectations. So I think that we are living in a shift, in another kind of society, and it's a little bit different from the digital society that we met at the end of the last century, at the beginning of this one.
Okay, thank you very much for this wide answer. I think that everybody should read the book to understand better what you mean about this kind of interactions. And I have another question that is related to what you said about emotions and intimacy. And in which way, I think this is the question that you most hear the most. I, in which way you think this we can understand intimacy or care in everyday life, especially when we are talking about controversial intelligence, artificial intelligence, with this kind of assistance and kind of therapeutic relationship with these algo agents, as you call it.
Yeah, this one is a very wet question, because I think that globally we are talking about, for example, about love, about death, about health, about a lot of elements that they are connected with our feelings and emotions, and how we are changing the way we perceive, the way we feel these elements. And I think that the one of the most important transformation concern what we can call as affective mediation, because when we think to a conversational AI system, do not simply nowadays provide information. They simulate, as I said, dialogue, empathy, and at the same time responsiveness. So they are designed to feel attentive, personalized, emotionally available. So this is not something that we consider as a marginal phenomenon anymore. And for example, I think that 3 or 4 days ago, a journalist on CNN, Adas Gold, she literally went to a date with an AI companion in a restaurant in New York City. So it was presented as an experience. She seated at the table, interacted with a chatbot on a smartphone, and it was designed as a romantic partner. So the AI was described as supportive, attentive, always available, a kind of frictionless intimacy. So this is an element so peculiar, so important, because what matters from a sociological point of view, because in this moment we are in a transcultural environment, because I'm in Italy, other people are in Mexico, and maybe other one are all over the world, because with a connection we are everywhere. So what matters sociologically is not whether we laugh at this or find it strange, but what matters is that this is becoming culturally relevant, culturally legible. So it is no longer science fiction. If we think to the movie by Spike Jonze, Her, now it is real. So we have a Theodore, we have a companion in AI, and we have people that are normalizing this kind of relationship. And I talked about the case of the restaurant in New York City, but there are a lot of bad experiences, very traumatic experiences. People that fell in love with an AI, with a large language model, and then they decided to die. because they were not able to understand what happened. As I said, every time is we don't know the autobiography of that people, if they had other kind of problems, what kind of life they are facing. So from a sociological point of view, uh, first of all, we need to collect their narratives, their story, their life stories. But the point is, if we found a diary, or if we found an email in which a guy or a girl decided to write and say, "I decided to die because I cannot love my AI companion in real life, and I hope to meet her, him, it, I don't know which kind of pronouns to use in this case," we need to think from this point of view, because this kind of presence becomes 24 on 7, so 24 hours for 7 days a week. And this does not mean that our emotions become fake, because we are human, we are like animals, we are another kind of animals, and we feel emotion in a specific way. So the emotions that this kind of people feel are real, so people can feel attachment, comfort, even love. One of the example, just to be a little bit more simple, is when I was a child. No, as all of us, we had a teddy bear or a doll or a kind of toy, and I remember that I had a teddy bear. It had a name. Had specific characteristics, elements of behaving, because I used my imaginary, and we are capable to give life to our toys. Like in Toy Story by Disney, by Pixar. But in this moment, we are creating something very different, because we are also giving to this kind of tool a lot of elements, like, as I said, love, death. If we want, we can talk about death robots, death grief, so mental health chatbots. So here again, we are connected with something that is culturally situated. So when we talk about ergo agents, we need to understand if where they are programmed, the kind of culture inside the tool, the politics inside the tool, and so on. So the algo agents shape our subjectivity. So it's very important. And if you want, we can talk about this during these minutes. But for now, I think that I can stop and uh, explore anything you want.
Yes, because we have some comments and some questions, and I just
Maybe
want to
we can take the questions from
yeah,
people. I
I
don't
just
know,
want to
as you
say
want.
very briefly that I found very interesting what you were just saying about, and make me think about the role that from the anthropocentric point of view we have as a humans in this kind of interaction, like I don't know, being old-fashioned by not using artificial intelligence and having this kind of resistance, but in a certain way having this kind of not responsibility the front when facing algorithms, like, okay, it's your problem, you kill yourself because you have that relationship with your chat gpt. It's your responsibility. Who is who in this kind of interaction? Like, machine has no fault at all, like this kind of ethics dimension.
Yeah, no,
Well,
it's interesting. It's very interesting, this vision. So no, if you want to add something, or
I think we can collect some questions because we have now many. Uh,
okay,
and maybe you can choose some topics. What do you think?
okay, okay, yeah, in the chat. Okay, I can read the chat.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. We have the, maybe if you want it, I can read it. Okay, we could start from the very first beginning, from Black Mirror. it says, even in our collective imagination, TV series and films are already exploring new forms of intelligence. In an anime called Pantheon, maybe you have heard.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah.
The concept of uploaded intelligence is introduced to describe the biotechnological uploading of human consciousness into a neurological algorithm, essentially a kind of migration to the cloud, similar to what we saw in the San Junipero episode of Black Mirror.
Mhm.
I love that episode.
Yeah,
Over the
thank you.
past decade, cultural narratives have begun to move beyond traditional AI, imagining the continuous evolution of algorithms into forms of self awareness capable of taking on abstract form in order to recognize themselves. Distinct from the avatars created by users and other emerging digital identities that may yet appear, this raises an important question. Who actually determines these paradigm shifts? The technological scientists, social thinkers, or the entertainment industry itself? Much like what the Matrix suggested years ago.
Wow, it's an amazing question, and I love all the references because I study imaginary too, and I have to confess that my first book is a collection from the mythology until nowadays about how humankind decided to imagine the concept of technoscience. So, for example, sometimes. In this case, the person, I don't know if he's a man or a woman, but the person decided to.
Adam Ruiz.
Okay, okay, thank you, Adam. So Adam decided to cite like Black Mirror or Pantheon or Upload and so on. But if we think to the Greek mythology, Hephaestus, that was the Greek god of doing. It was the only god in the Greek pantheon that works for others, and he created different kind of tools like a giant called Talos, and it was like a system of surveillance of what we can call nowadays artificial intelligence surveillance. Or he created the made by gold, like house cleaning robots and so on. So the point is, the first one is inside mythology, inside science fiction, and inside our imagination, we explored a lot. So we have a lot of elements that we can connect from the imaginary to the present to try to understand better what is happening. It's like when we read a book about a dystopical future. When we use the dystopian elements, we use them to understand which route we don't have to take. But human beings are not so able to make good choices. But to arrive at the final question is, who has the power? In this moment, we know that the power is, I think, shared by a very small group. We can call them techno oligarchy or something like this. And we need to understand that inside the macro, the huge discourse of artificial intelligence, we can talk about data colonialism, or, for example, the epistemic extractivism. So the point is, as in the past we had the hacker culture, we can use this kind of tool, this kind of invention to create something new. So as the hackers decided to use the web, internet, computers to create something new, a subculture, we can use this kind of tools to create something new. But the point is that, first of all, we need to understand what we are using, because this is where the idea of the epistemic extractivism becomes crucial, because data are extracted from populations, transformed into proprietary models, and then sold back as services. So the point is, the use that we decided to do with something. And as I said, there's another element connected with the power, with the political view of AI, of algo agents. This is a form of digital colonialism, because not the old colonialism of territory that we know, and we need to talk about this. Now they decided to transform it a colonialism of meaning, of classification, of infrastructural dependence. So the point is that we can use, and I'm trying to do this with my research, and this is the maybe the main core, because I decided to use a new word, because when we meet something new, we need a name. We need to create a name to call something, and I'm trying through the algomorphic sociology to share that ergo agents and these kind of elements are, first of all, historically produced, because they don't emerge from pure science. They emerge from culture, politics, economics, and so on. And second, that their effects are situated and relational. So if we decided to use, for example, DeepSeek, that is from China, we decided which kind of culture, government, system to sustain. If we decided to use Grok, is another kind of mentality. So if we decided to use open AI with GPT or Gemini, so the point is we need to focus our attention on geography, politics, cultures, and so on. So we need to develop critical analysis when we decided to use this element. Because as I said before, when we talked about love, it's very easy to simulate empathy, but we need to understand that it's a machine that doesn't feel love, anger, fear, and so on. They are created just to take persons more connected with the devices, with the invention. So I
Talking
hope
about
to.
talking about love, let me read to you two comments. Veronica Mota says, some argue the existence of artificial affect. I don't think that affect can be simulated or mimic. I believe it is a hoax. And then Tona Garfia says, our current stage aims to shape our behavior, turning us into trainers for complex language models and NLP algorithms, without us even considering ourselves subjects of study. The so-called concept of artificial intelligence is merely a comfort, making it easier for us as users to feel a sense of connection.
Yes, because as I said before, it's very easy for us to say sentences like the algorithm decided, or the AI is inevitable. But the point is that if we decided to feel, or not if we decided, but if we feel something, we are not deciding to feel something. So, the point is when I love I try to use another example, very very simple and maybe easier to understand. I love listening music, and I love to collect vinyl record. When I buy a vinyl record and I listen the record at home, I'm very happy. I'm glad. I can feel a kind of privilege because I have that kind of tool, and in a kind of way I can feel a kind of love for this passion. But so this is real, and as I said before, is not a fake empathy from human point of view, from our point of view. It's a fake empathy from the technical point of view, the technological point of view. But the other element, and I'm thinking a lot about this, if as human being, if I feel the necessity to looking for love or good or other elements in a machine, in an algo agent, it means that maybe all these elements, all these feelings, they lack in my real life. So there is a kind of disconnection from my everyday life, from my family, from my community, from my friends, from my work, and so on. So, the point is that we need to face what we can call technological determinism. So the idea that everything is inevitable. I'm not that kind of researcher, but because that story is convenient for those who profit from the development of AI. So we need to understand all these elements.
I have too much to say, but I want to give space to the participants. I have another question for you from Jose Adalid Torres. In surveillance capitalism, data becomes a fundamental part of the influence that industries have on people's behavior. In this sense, could we consider algorithms to be the main actors in a new era where emotions can be commercialized in digital environments?
Amazing, because yes, I think that we can start to think about this, and I can talk to you about one of the last invention or the last ideas by Meta. So we are talking about another techno-capitalism, Mark Zuckerberg, and he is trying to create. What I can call algo agents or algorithm of artificial intelligence that they can post on social network after the death of the user. So imagine that your grandmother dies today, and then tomorrow morning you receive a message from her on Facebook, and she say, "Oh, my dear nephew, I love you, but do you want to buy this kind of car? Do you want to buy this kind of chocolate?" So the point is that yes, we are. I think that the concept of capitalism is grabbing everything about all of us. I There's an amazing book by Nancy Fraser. She's a contemporary philosopher, and she talks about cannibal capitalism. But today, I think that we can talk about spiritual capitalism, emotional capitalism, everything capitalism, identity capitalism. Because if a corporation as Meta decided to create this kind of tool, so this kind of AI, I think that we are losing something, and I think that we are creating fake memories because my grandmother, she died a lot of years ago, and I have a lot of memories about her. But in this moment, I think that I don't like to receive a message from her. I would not like to receive a message from my grandfather or an uncle or somebody that disappeared 1 month ago or 10 years ago. So this is another aspect, and there's the concept about the digital death. Yes, we are creating and we can cite again Black Mirror, the possibility to continue to talk with dead people. So
Yeah, I found really awkward the thing about creating pictures or kind of images and movement with the living death. I would say like that, because you don't have maybe. I found it a lot with babies that died, children, and they want to imagine some parents like how they would look like as an adults or teenagers by using some of these kind of artificial intelligence apps. Okay, we have another question from the chat, which says, Veronica Mota, could you explain precisely how algorithmic agency works, not theoretically, but technologically?
technological, I'm not an engineer, so I studied with some engineers because, I think that every time that we decided to study something new, we need to talk and to stay with the people that are competent, that they have the skills, the ability to understand all of this. From a technical point of view, what I can say is that it's a kind of statistical machine. You have a kind of nodes, and every time that if we think to a large language model has, I don't know, Gemini, every time that you decided to write a word, what we can express in this case, and this is the meaning, the means that we use to talk and to understand each other. Every time that we choose a word, the machine or the algorithm or the statistical machine behind the Gemini in this case try in a simple way to understand which is the best word to connect with yours. So you need to imagine like a tree, a simple tree with a lot of branches, and you can find a lot of ramification. But at the end, he decided just only one word or only one sentence. So it's very statistical in this moment for what we know now. There's no magic, there is no something strange, there is no a divinity, a god inside the machine. Is statistics. So this is one of the possibility, because we need to think that when we talk about algorithms of machine learning, we are talking about different kind of learning. We can talk about deep learning, machine to machine learning, neural works, and so on. So another elements and another thing that I shared every time, if we want to do our research about artificial intelligence, algorithms of machine learning, algo agents, first of all, we need to behave as an anthropologist, because we need to understand which kind of tool we are studying. So how people decided to construct, which kind of learning is inside the machine, where, and all the elements that I said before. So this is a very short answer from a technical point of view.
We have more questions from Veronica, but Veronica, I will give space to some other people and then maybe come back to you. Maybe from the people who are raising their hand, Enrique Gutiérrez, if you want to ask something yourself. Si quieres preguntar algo, Enrique, veo que tienes la mano alzada. Puedes preguntarlo en español y si quieres podemos hacer la traducción.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Paulina. Thank you, Edmondo. It's a pleasure to be here. We're really lucky. So I have this question. I have two questions actually, but I think this is more important, Edmondo. If we truly consider algorithm as algo agents rather than tools, how should responsibility be redistributed between designers, users, and the systems themselves? Thank you.
Thank you so much to you, Enrique, and thank you for your question. I think that, again, responsibility is one of the elements on which we need to focus. There's a huge debate all over the world about the concept of ethics of machine. Okay, yes, it is correct. But first of all, we need to understand that the responsibility is from the point of the human being. And in this moment, I cannot answer in a specific way. If you ask me who is the responsible for the death of the young guy in Belgium, according to me, in this moment, we have a lack inside the law field of expertise, the law science. And for example, here in Italy, I'm working inside the cybersecurity group because we are trying to understand how to fulfill this lack, because everywhere all over the world we decided to use this kind of machine, this kind of tool, without any kind of legislations, or better, we have a lot of legislations from different countries, different kind of organization, private and public, but it's very difficult and very hard to apply them in a national law system. And this is one of the elements because, I think that for another time, we forget the sociology of risk by Ulrich Beck. Back in 1986, he said, hey, come on, people, we need to understand that we live in a society with dangers and with risks. But, and if we want to connect with another sociologist, I think to answer Jonas, and the concept of responsibility, again, we are lacking for this. So responsibility in this case, I think that we need to look at the techno. I read before, and I like the definition of techno-feudalism from a philosopher, I think. Look at the great companies. So we need to look to Amazon, to Meta, to Starlink and SpaceX, and all the companies that they are producing this kind of elements. But the point is that from a national point of view, we lack of laws, we lack of regulation, of declaration of this element. And we need to work all together on this.
And I will take the other question from Francisco Javier, which is also raising the hand. And Enrique gives you a heart.
Thank you so much.
Francisco, si quieres hablar, veo que tienes la mano alzada. Francisco Javier González, me parece. ¿No? Ok, entonces vamos con otra pregunta del chat. Enrique Lopez says, data mining machines with a smiley face readily available to everyone is a little scary. What can we do to warn the general public? It seems these interactions are popular because they feed a human need for connection and socialization.
Just can say that I simply agree, because the element is this kind of tools, this kind of algo agents, they are taking a precise place in everyday life. They are a general purpose technology, and general GPT, that is not the chat, but the concept of general purpose technology is a technology that has the ability, the possibility to connect to all the field of everyday life. So when we wake up in the morning, we decided to say hello to Alexa or Google Home. We are connected with a non-human actor. When we decided to consult GPT for our work, we are connected with a non-human interaction. And I remember that during one of my class here in Italy, one of the students, he told me that when he was in Erasmus, he was abroad. He was for 6 months abroad. He spent a lot of time using this kind of chat, the large language model, because he felt alone. He felt lonely. So for him was like, sometimes because of different hours from the place where he lived and the hometown, he decided to use this kind of tools as a diary, but not, the old diary with the pages and so on. It was an interaction. So I think that there's the first critics that maybe we can move is again on human being, is on all of us. Because if I feel, as I said before, if I feel more pleasure to spend my time on GPT than to, for example, grab a pizza, a beer with a friend, there's a problem inside our society. And yes, is the way engineer and other people decided to design this kind of tool. Because remember that in the history of science and technology, every time that we discover or we invented something new, we decided to apply it in different fields, two different fields. The first one is about military, and the second one is about health. and they are connected with life and death. So every time, if we think, for example, to internet, to the web, it was used during the Cold War as a weapon. And then they decided to transform it in something for civilian people. So in this case, again, we are facing a tool, and we need to understand how to disrupt the primordial conception by design.
I have to content myself not to answer because I don't want to make a conversation between you and me. We have time in Italy to do that. Kenya Olivera, another question. Does the affective and cognitive relationship humans establish with artificial intelligence expand what it means to be human, or blur its boundaries by sharing agency with a non-human? Within this socio-technical network, who transformed whom?
Transforms whom? I think both, because first of all, we need to think that every time that human being decided to interact with the environment, so I don't know, my studio or in the chat or in another places, we change every time. You know, the concept of identity is something very liquid. It's something more than liquid. Is like oxygen, something that change in every second, in every moment that we decided to interact. At the same time, if we think to an algo agent, so when I decided to use for my studies and for my pleasure large language models, we all of us, we have the opportunity to change them, because we can create a companion, we can create something different. One example was that some years ago in 2023, the first time that I decided to use GPT for the first time, I asked a very simple thing, something that I knew very well, very well, to understand how the machine worked. So I decided to ask the bibliography by Max Weber, the sociologist. So in one of the books, GPT decided to put a book by Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher. So first of all, I said, okay, there's an error, there's a mistake. And then when I asked to the machine to create a bibliography connected on the study by Max Weber, all the results, all the elements were from Europe, male, and white people. From that moment, I decided to educate, if I can use this kind of term, like a metaphor, my GPT to gain an international bibliography, an intersectional bibliography. So female, people from Asia, people from Africa, gay people, lesbian people, people from all over the world, without, you know, the classical stereotype. But the point is, I think that I can use this word. I'm a privileged one because I study, I'm a researcher, and I can understand all of this. But the epistemology behind the machine could change in a bad way people. Because if the question was, imagine a person from a different point of view of mind, and men are superior than women, just a sentence. Maybe the algorithm, just to take care of the user, could in a kind of way say, okay, yes, maybe in something, maybe in this, maybe in that. So yes, we can change. We are changing for sure. We are changing because we are living in another perspective, in another intersection. But at the same time, remember that we have the power to shape the algorithm. You know, and what the most important example is the culture of hacking. I really believe in hackers. So
I think we have chance for a couple of questions, and Pido disculpas a Vero y a Adam que repitieron, hicieron otras preguntas, pero quisiera dar un poco de espacio a quien no ha podido preguntar. Carmen Valle says, what is that heptapod message behind you? By the way, in that story, Ted Chiang explores the neurological change that happen when you learn another language. What is happening to our brains that now face another kind of communication with the AI?
Thank you so much, because I don't know. Okay, you know, there's a circle behind me, and is the symbol, one of the sign that you can find in an amazing movie that is Arrival by Denis Villeneuve. But the movie is inspired by the book that our friend mentioned, and I use this kind of metaphor, the novel. I use that novel because I'm thinking that yes, we are changing something, but in this moment is too soon to understand what is happening. Remember, for example, the first scientific. I'm talking from a scientific point of view. The first scientific fighting on television or on video games. Or video games are bad, video games are violent, video games are for stupid people, and so on. But after a lot of studies, we know that we have different kind of video games and a different kind of elements inside the video games that can help people to understand better who they are or the abilities that they have. So the point is, again, we are living in a moment, as in Arrival, if we want to talk about the movie, in which our brain are changing. So the point is that a lot of people, maybe they are losing some kind of abilities, some kind of specificity, because we believe that everything that we can read and is written by an AI could be correct, could be real. But another time, and for another time, once again, I want to say that the problem is from our point of view. We need to share our expertise, our skills with the people that they don't have these possibilities. The only way to understand better what is happening is through the creations of community, of a plural access to education, plural access to this kind of tools, because again, we are living in a moment like the first industrial revolution, but with different elements, in which a lot of people, maybe they will lost work, they will lost houses, they will lost possibilities, they are losing natural resources from their territories, and so on. So the point is, yes, from a neurological point of view, we are changing, because every time that we decided to use a specific elements, and I will close with this one if we don't have time, is the example of what kind of tool we decided to use to eat something. Here in Italy, we eat a lot of pasta, so we use the fork. But if I move to another nation, maybe they use the sticks, or I could use my hands, or I can use bread. And inside every single tools, there's not just only the tools. There's the culture, the way my brain and my ideas are working in that moment, the way I decided to relate with the environment, with that kind of moment, and so on. So the point is that from a neurological point of view, we are changing, but I am one of the researchers that says that we need time to understand. And I know technology is faster than us. So we are like dinosaurs in this moment.
If it's possible, I would like to ask the very last questions, because we run out of time and I want to be respectful with the next conference. And I found this very interesting. I'm really sorry to the other people. There are many questions, Edmondo, for you. Maybe we can collect them and you can stay in touch.
They can write to me.
You can write to Dr. Edmondo Grassi, which is very available. And the last question is, what has been the experience in Europe, and specifically in Italy, with the use of AI in political campaigns? And what has been the emotional response?
I can say that in Italy, we don't need a huge use of artificial intelligence during the campaign in a specifically in a clear way. But different politics, they decided to use them. If I can use, I am so sorry. I hope that I don't offend no one in the Trump way. So they decided to create photos, pictures, very strange, like Trump in the US, Trump Pope, Trump Superman, and sometimes here in Italy too. But there were in the past different cases. I remember that in Russia, before the war before the invasion of Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, they decided to create for an election in a city a virtual major. Or, for example, in Poland, too, they created a virtual expert about elections. So this is one part. Then there's something that is under the skin, if I can use this metaphor, because every time that we use a social networks, we have algorithms that are capable and able to move our attention to specific elements and not on others. So the point is, I know that the time is running out. So if you want, you can write to me. I will be very glad to answer to your emails if you're interested. So I can go deeper about the political issues in Europe, in Italy, and so on. So thank you to you all. Thank you to Professor Sabugal and professor in Mexico.
Thank you very much to Edmondo, which is always wonderful to listen to. And thank you very much to the participants. We have many questions, so many hints. It was very stimulating, but even for me, which I'm not an expert in artificial intelligence, but I'm always learning. So I'm very, very glad to be here. Edgar, no sé si quieras decir algo, tú para cerrar.
No, pues muchas gracias, Edmondo. Gracias que pudiste estar con nosotros. Desde el principio aceptaste la invitación. Excelente charla, excelente conversación y excelente diálogo, intercambio con las y los colegas que están en el Congreso. Querida Paulina, muchas gracias también por tu moderación y por ser parte de este esfuerzo colectivo. Y gracias también desde la Cátedra México.
Pues
Gracias a vosotros.
Gracias a todos los participantes y una vez más, bueno, gracias a Edgar Tafoya por la invitación, a la Facultad de Ciencias Políticas de la UNAM, a toda las personas que están detrás de cámaras y por supuesto un grande gracias a Edmondo otra vez y que espero que sea la primera de muchas iniciativas, la segunda en realidad que hemos hecho juntos, Elia.
Para nosotros es la segunda.
La segunda y seguiremos. Bueno, gracias.